Hey, hey everybody. Hey, we're on. Hey. Oh, pretty flowers outside my front. Look at that. I just noticed. Beautiful. Oh, it's pouring rain. There's some beautiful yellow flowers. Oh, outside my front. I don't think you could see them. Over there. Like over there. Try to get a shot of them later. How's everybody doing? Sunday. What is it? August 18th. Leslie Dollop Plazz here. Zazoo Plazz. Back for my Sunday chat. What is it? 10 in the morning. I'm sorry. I'm kind of normal this week. Oh, I have hot pink lipstick on. You can't really tell. I thought it was really bright, but it doesn't show up. Oh well. I made an effort. Oh good, I didn't have the pen on for once. All right, I'm having a slow start this week. We're getting kind of silly. This week's theme is fools and foolishness. And yeah, the heart and food, meals, and but about running and writing. Well, anyway, it's a smorgasbord. You kids probably don't know what that word means. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Smorgasbord. I love unusual words, as a writer. I collect words like smorgasbord. It kind of reminds me of the Swedish chef. Smorgasbord, from the Muppets. Anyway, welcome to the Zazoo Plazz report. If you're new here, this is pretty standard stuff for me. Within the past minute, I've probably covered about 60 topics. And that's how it goes. You have to keep up, folks. You have to keep up. This is not, if you're expecting boring content, this isn't the place for you. All right? Prepare to have your socks knocked off at some point. Because that's how we roll around here. Gen X, folks. Anyway, all right. Yeah, it's pouring rain, so I can't go outside, even though I'm here at a normal time, instead of like 1 in the morning or 3 in the morning or whatever. But it's a different time every week. So I've been up since 11 o'clock last night. So for me, this is later in the day. But anyway, that's what I mean. Oh, I wanted to show and tell first. Oh, we got our new washers and dryers. I used them. I broke them in yesterday. You get it like an app on your phone, and then it's so cool. You don't have to use the little card anymore. I used to have to walk like a mile and put my card in this little, machine and put cash in there and stuff. And it was a pain because I always have to make sure I had cash. But this is very Gen X. See, we're used to this kind of stuff. Like, okay, I'm used to old school. We came up through that. We cut our teeth on old school, and then we got launched into the 80s, as teens, when things were, getting computerized, but they weren't quite there. And then the 90s, still, we had computers, but the internet wasn't there. And then in the 2000s, we had the internet, but like social media wasn't quite there. I mean, we had websites, but an email, it was sketchy. So what I'm saying is we're used to these little, changes, right? So this is Gen X, at least the early ones of us. The later ones, they're a little different, the younger ones. But say those of us born, say 65 to, 72-ish, we're used to this. You know, most of us graduated high school, within were in high school and or college during the 80s. So, anyway, I'm gonna, I digress. I oh, I have something exciting to show for show and tell today. I, uh, I realized that the last pair of running shoes I bought, well, I still have those that are in the picture there. Those were, I'm not getting paid for this, but I get Brooks sneakers, and I put the no tie laces on like these things, and I get my new insoles. Um, you know, I'm not doing commercials here, but I just wanted to show. I still have those. They were. I get the Brooks glycerin ones. That's the name of them, Brooks glycerin. Because I have a neutral foot. I have it's like a big flat neutral foot. So those are like from I don't know, when I wrote the book, I already had them for a couple of years. They were like 15s or something. And now they're up to 20, 21. Um, so what I do is I when I get a new pair of sneakers, the old pair is my outside sneakers, and then the previous pair is my like grungy sneakers. Really, So and then I have the new ones, these that I run with, I work out with. So there's tiers of sneakers. I don't often throw them out. They have to be really bad, but I do get insoles. They last a couple of years. And then I get the no tie laces. They're kind of like they're like elastic, And you put them on and you don't have to tie your sneakers. You just slip your foot right in there. My neighbor's up. So I got this pair because they match my couch. And these match the new towels that I bought for my bathroom, this coral color. But I couldn't find the no tie laces in this color, which is kind of a bummer, So I thought maybe there's some way I could keep these and put just the locking thing on. I'll figure it out. I got two. Anyway, it's my little show and tell for me. I love those sneakers because I realized I haven't bought a new pair since the fall of 2021. Let's see, 2021? Yeah, 20, or is it 2019? I think, no, 2021, because they were fairly new when I went to Tucson in the spring of 22. And I broke them in walking all over Tucson. I mean, I walked all over that mountain I was on. And then I went, once I left there, I walked down around the city of Tucson, all around the center. I wore them out and broke them in. They didn't wear out, but I definitely broke them in that time. So I started thinking, gee, it's time for a new pair. Because I've been wearing the purple ones to work out, and because the other ones, I made the other ones my outside ones. Anyway, I wanted to show you. And then the other thing, I was doing Facebook, and realized I got this picture of myself on Block Island. And I said, why is this picture meaningful? I posted it. And then I went, did other stuff, got ready. I realized that picture was taken. It was the same weekend. Uh, we had been married a year, Gray and I, ex-husband. And we had gone to my parents' house. And that Sunday was like July 28th, 96. That Sunday was when my humor, it was like a satirical essay that I wrote for the New York Times. I just happened to have it here. We framed it. Here it is. New York Times, Money and Business section. Leslie Zazoo Plazz, that's me. I have seen the future. It's in consulting. Look at that. I had it up on my wall, but it's heavy. So I don't want to put a nail in the wall. I can't put nails in the wall here because I'm renting. So I've been thinking, do I dare? Can I try to put one of those heavy duty hooks up? Is it gonna hold? Do I need a couple of them? So, and I don't really have anywhere to like lean it on anything. So, well, um, but anyway, when that picture was taken, that had just come out. Like we went and bought that Sunday. We went because you had to, we were at my parents' beach house. You had to go down to the corner and buy your newspapers, and because there were a lot of New Yorkers down in Rhode Island, near where our summer cottage was, they had the New York Times. So I remember, I we probably went to church or something, and that Sunday we were like, we'd have breakfast out on the deck. Um, it was nice. We'd have something special. And I remember showing my parents my article in the New York Times. And I was on a high, because I got paid for it. It was like the most I ever got paid, counting my book. The most I've ever been paid for my writing. And I was just like over the moon, I couldn't believe I could be that happy. Just, and it was a lark. I was taking a writing course, a correspondence writing course. Kids, this was before online in the mid 90s. It was through it's now the Institute for Writers. It was the Long Ridge Writers Group. And the lady was from San Francisco, my instructor. She was from San Francisco. And, I had lessons to complete. One of the lessons was to write a nonfiction essay kind of thing. So I batted that one out. And she said, well, why don't you send it somewhere? And I said, oh, why don't I send it to the New York Times? Like a joke. Ha ha. She said, no, do it. So I did. And they accepted it. They wanted to changed a few things, but I held pretty firm on the ending and certain other things. They wanted to change it. I said, no. So anyway, yeah. So, but this all makes sense, and I'll come around to it, okay? Because San Francisco, and somebody urging somebody to, follow their heart, follow their, I guess the opportunity, follow their opportunity is what we're talking about here. So, the readings for this week, the 20th Sunday, I always start with the scriptures, the Catholic readings, and go from there. But I start with stories, see? So this is interesting. Proverbs. Okay, so, it's a literary work. The Bible, a literary work. There's wisdom in the Proverbs, right? Proverbs are kind of like, those Aesop's fables that you heard growing up, There's wisdom in them. So, so this reading from Proverbs is kind of like, there's a metaphor here of a meal, and wisdom as the hostess, right? Someone like me who's made a lot of meals for people over the years. Zazoo with me. She's got a notebook and a cell phone in one pocket. She's got a spoon and a spatula in the other. So that's my thing, I cook for people, right? It's both my downfall and my gift. Sometimes the same. I get stuck cooking for everybody, doing for everybody, right? Then I don't get enough to balance off on my fun using my superhero gifts, sharing them with the world. So, yeah, so wisdom is like, making a meal, right? Preparing a meal for those who lack understanding. Like the simple, the, childlike, those who, you lack understanding. In other words, people, like me who feel like they don't fit in the world, the real world, right? Not worldly, right? But, God says abandon foolishness, abandon foolishness and come to the banquet of wisdom. So this is interesting. In other words, um, you're going along. It, foolishness is just not knowing yourself. It's being unconscious, right? It's just not aware of what God has in store, or what you're doing here. So that's where you need the nourishment, that opening your heart to the flow of God, the universe, spirit through you. And then you can, really be nourished. In other words, you won't lack understanding and the self-understanding. If you have that, then you won't make foolish choices because you'll be more discerning, right? In how you go about the world. So there's a certain, you know, you have to give up certain things to obtain this nourishment, right? You can't fill up on all the worldly things, the distractions that don't do anything for you, overdoing excess things. So, all right. So, and I relate to this because I think what I'm meant to do, part of what I'm here for, is to kind of create a home base for people who are looking for this kind of feeling. I'm preparing a home for them, virtual home, through my creations, my social media, my books, my whatever I'm going to be doing, speaking. Um, you know, for people who are have felt the lowly, right? If you ever felt kind of like ignored, I've had these experiences. Being a Gen Xer, being feeling like I've been from job to job to job to da to da to da, friendships to friendships to relationships to. Um, I've had these experiences, so I can relate to what a lot of people are going through. I've been a mom. I am a mom. You know, um, I know what it's like to feel like you don't know where you should go. So I can help people. That has allowed me to develop an empathy, a compassion based on my own experiences, where I've felt you know I wasn't shown those you know those things. So, um, but I've also had lots of happy experiences that I can share. You know, which has given me a wealth of a feeling of being satisfied, being full spiritually in a lot of ways. So, in Ephesians, watch how you live. In other words, don't drink too much. Leads to debauchery. Debauchery. It's another good word. Debauchery. 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 Don't debauch. 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 Whatever. In other words, give thanks. Take in words that feed your soul. Don't feast. Don't don't feast on things that deplete you. Things that make you feel drain your energy. Don't do that. Just be light and playful and sing hymns, right? Don't sing songs or listen to songs that are of a lower energy, right? Make sure that it's uplifting what you're listening to. Makes you happy, makes your heart sing, right? Yeah. So, and that's coming. Um, then we're back to John chapter 6 again. We've been kind of stuck there. Um, but Jesus is talking, saying he's the flesh, that people should eat his flesh and his blood. And this fellow, you know, Jews are saying, what do you mean? He wants us to eat him? What does he say? You know, fake news. It's like, what? Um, but they must have, to hear him speak in these metaphors, that they weren't used to that, right? They were taking him literally, right? Which is not what he was saying. He was talking about spiritual nourishment, right? In other words, like, once we all have a cross to bear, you know. But once we, make come to know ourselves and what, you know, who we are at a very deep level, and what God means for us to do with our lives, then we won't have to make those mistakes again, right? So that's kind of like being fed with this information. It fills in the blanks, so to speak. The puzzle pieces start to fit together. And we have strength. This gives us strength, right? We have to give up a little control over, using our mind. What? We have to eat him? What? The mind does not comprehend this, but the heart does, right? The intuition, the part, that does not have proof that this is going to work. No, you have to be like the fool. You have to go off the cliff, right? Knowing, having faith that God's going to catch you. Universe. So, um, it says the days are evil. Don't let distractions waste your precious time and energy. Right? That's what they mean by the days are evil. Because if we give ourselves too much to what the world will just take from you. The world meaning, um, you know, just when you don't use discretion and you just lend your energy to everything without determining what is really important. What deserves my energy and time and effort, right? And you don't just give that away willy-nilly. It's worth something, right? You're valuable. So, brings me to the song of the week. Finally, she's getting to the damn song. I've been waiting for a long time here. Foolish, foolish heart. Foolish, foolish heart. Steve Perry. His first solo album. Foolish, foolish heart. Give me home. Okay, stop singing. Okay. His fourth single from his first solo album. So he was with Journey, and then this was from Street Talk, his first solo album, released in November of '84. Because I was in college. It was 19. I had just turned 19. Peaked at number 18 on the Billboard 100. Number 2 in the adult contemporary in February of '85. And the video, I was surprised. It was just so simple for the '80s, MTV. And maybe because it was just him, right? And he's on this darkened stage, and this camera. And it was unusual because the video was one continuous shot. It doesn't jump around. It just zooms in on him. He comes out on the stage, sits down on a stool. There's a mic there, and he just starts singing. And what else do you need when you're Steve Perry and you have that voice that you would know anywhere, right? I think he has one of the most recognizable voices. And, you know, um, what I read I was surprised I never heard this. Little fun fact for you. There's an alternate ending that they say is not always shown, but it was a happy holiday version. Um, and, and the end shot is of him, going off stage and meeting the band, Journey, his bandmates. And they raise a glass of champagne and say, let's go, happy holidays, happy new year, let's go cut a track. And off they go. And so, and I never knew Steve Perry, and he was an only child like me, from Portuguese parents. His father's name was Ray, like my father, uh, and his name was Pereira, though he shortened it to Perry. He was from near San Francisco. Um, yeah, he was in he was in several bands, and he almost quit one, I guess, in the '70s because one of the band members was the bass player was killed in a car crash, and his mother urged him to. He was going to quit music. He's like, I'm done. His heart couldn't handle it, right? But his mother said he should just take this call from this guy. It was the manager, Journey, Herbie Herbert, Herbie Herbert, and he wanted him to audition to replace the current. I never knew Journey had another lead singer, Rob Fleischman, and he just wasn't meshing with the band. It just wasn't working. He was not the right fit. I never knew that. I always thought it was just Steve Perry from the beginning, but it wasn't. Um, so they said that he was some roadie's Portuguese cousin or something, and he snuck in and he did a number, with the band, and it was great. He really hit it off. So then, he started to go in the crowd, in the fans began to accept him little by little, you know. But if he hadn't had that opportunity, that's the thing, that you have to take your opportunities, when they present themselves. Um, if he had just given up at that point, that was probably his lowest point, and the universe was testing him to see if can he handle a step up. He's been down. He's been. It's like he said, foolish heart. Uh, you've been let down before. I don't know those. I don't think those are the words. But he's allowed himself to hope before and gotten dashed. And another band and got dashed. And is this Is this going to be it? No. Is this going to be it? No. Foolish heart. How many times? But there's that one last time, in the universe. And that's the thing that just set him off into the stratosphere, right? It's just that one last thing when you're just about to give up and you can't handle it anymore. That's when you have to show up. And so, when things don't, it's not a song just about love. You can be heartbroken over, jobs that don't work out, projects that you had your heart set on that don't go quite as magnificently as you would have hoped. But then the second time, and the third time, the fourth time, that's the time. You just have to keep trying, which is why I'm still sitting here 4 years after my book came out, talking to myself on YouTube. But yeah, so God is in our hearts. You gotta, that Christ light comes through the heart. You have to follow what makes you light up, what makes you shine, right? Anyway, I gotta go because they're gonna kick me out. So anyway, have a wonderful week. Follow your foolish heart. Very well, within reason. Be safe. Be Take care. I'll see you next week.